Hey guys, 15 seconds in on a Monday. It's 6:18 in the morning, so I'm gonna take a few wild guesses straight up. Good morning, by the way. Good morning. Thanks for coming. It's awesome. I'm so pumped up for Monday. It's a big day today, 3rd of November. I'm gonna take a guess. It's around 3 p.m. ish on the other side of the world right now. So I guess you're heading into the afternoon on a Sunday there. And here we're pretty much rolling on a Monday morning. So we're out now. We're going around the roundabouts and through the chicanes of the day it started, you know. So we're just testing the grounds here. We done a lot over the weekend, but not so much living because of the conditions. We had some wind too, so it kind of limits how much I can do out there, you know, and not having gone anywhere. So I'm a person truly who parks his car over the weekend. Like I see driving as something you do through the week for work reasons, and yes, of course, there's always that, you know, let's take a drive somewhere kind of thing like that. That's rare though. That's not big. I used to do that a lot. Fuel prices were a bit better. Look, I want to jump into something that's been on my mind seriously, and I don't know. I never find the time to like articulate it, kind of thing. I'm gonna watch for any cameras here. It's like always some dude parked on the side somewhere. You never expect him. Galimera, as you say good morning. Are you a Greekie? Hey Eric, how are you, man? Hey, look, I gotta jump into it. Like, it's seriously on my mind, and I don't know when I'll ever get the time. So, God, you talk so much. No offense. Yeah, you gotta, man. You gotta keep up the dialogue, man. Like, otherwise, you know what happens. You spend your time listening to it, but you never talk back. You know, that's the thing. Like, you don't want to be that silent partner in your own life. This is what I realized. Like, sometimes you got to talk back to the shadows and shine a light on them and say, you know, listen, what's going on in there, in that shoebox there? Like, you know, why am I hearing it? Why am I knowing about it? So, like, some of the whole, the wrap up from the whole Halloween's been huge for me. Like, that time through Halloween was probably for me, it wasn't 24 hours. I reckon it was about 48 to 56 hours of Halloween for me. It was a bit like getting all these messages, getting all these visions from those early times, you know, even from when that movie was made back in the beginning. Like, you know, you watch a movie, it kind of reminds you when you first saw it, you know, and what was going on then. And, you know, it's a kind of a marker. It's like reading a book again. Like, you remember reading a certain book and then you pick it up years later and go, oh yeah, I remember what I was thinking when I read this, you know. So, like, there's a lot of clues around. There's heaps of clues. So out the first 6 years, and I'm not gonna make it so boring. I'm using a metaphor. So I thought about the 6-string guitar, right? The ultimate icon of rock, right? So, like, it's a huge thing. And I'll say when I was 6 years old, rock and roll was like flat out the thing. There was nothing else. So the first 6 years of my life, I would equate to sort of the way a 6-string guitar is built. Let's say it took you 6 years to build a 6-string guitar in yourself, in your own life. I want you to think about those strings when they were fresh and new, and how those strings were just, you know, getting pulled down for the first time. So can you imagine those, you know, at the bridge section where the string hasn't got a choice, it's being threaded through, right? There's only one side that's on the peg side, right, or whichever hand you are. For me, it's over there. The peg side is the part you have control over, okay? But the part that's being threaded through, that's what's all this about? I can't see, bro. I'm not on the, I can't see good those chats, but I see like the word offense or something. But look, seriously, don't take offense. I don't know. There's nothing to be offended about when a person is like, you know, saying some stuff. Like, you can either like listen or not listen. Like, but commentary never kind of helps at the time. When I'm really trying to show you that when you first bend those strings down, the fret new guitar strings, one at a time. So what I'm trying to say is, when you're young, those strings have to get tightened quite a bit to flatten them out over the bridge, to get them properly wrapped and locked around the pegs, right? So that first turns of the strings is so critical, right? So I want to think about the first 6 years and how those strings had to be over tightened. We know that. So we don't have an opinion about it. It sort of just happened that way. That's how I kind of things. Like, we had very little control apart from to tune the pegs on the other side, but we had no idea what those pegs were doing. Like, so over time, our creation over, say, the first 6 years, the first 6 strings, let's just go there. So keep it finite, you know. I don't want to extend into a 24 string sitar, you know, because that's just overdoing it. The first few years of our formations are critical to our development and where we're headed. We don't really know what's going on when we're getting tuned up. So a lot of kids had their strings not so, maybe some over tightened to the point where, like, can you imagine the high notes? The high notes when you're young are so high that no one else can hear them, and so low because the fat string takes the longest to tighten. It's the heaviest, right? The light strings, they're very easy to tune up first. But you can get that high out of tune melody from that. Like, that explains some of the cacophony of that early beginning. Anyway, look, that's sort of to be continued, but I really wanted to get on that the first 6 years and the first 6 strings of the guitar, just as a way of saying, like, we had very little control over our first 6 years, you know. We were pretty much getting tuned to our environment, to our circumstance, what was going on at the time. For each person, perspectivity, it's huge. I mean, like, that window that you're looking out of, it's so relevant to you, as in what you see is relevant to you. Like, it's kind of like that. I see it that way. It's almost a necessary thing. Otherwise, you'd fail to process the thing, right? You'd fail to process the image, wouldn't you? If you weren't autonomous enough to understand an image, why would you, yeah, like, can you see where I'm going with that? Like, you need to have an opinion about what you're seeing, otherwise you don't know what it is, you know? Yeah, it's, you get, oh, you're the worst. You shouldn't even say that stuff, you know? Haven't you ever heard, if you got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all? That's what I always thought. I got nothing bad to say. I got nothing bad to say. I don't get you. Like, you are that kind of person who likes to, like, make open commentary, right? And sort of like, kind of, you don't care if you embarrass people. You don't. Really, yeah. And using people's real names and all this. You have to make that play for a power, you know? It's will to power. That's you, you know? But you don't understand what your powers are. All you can do is, like, blah, blah, blah at other people, right? But at least I'm trying to contribute. Like, what are you doing by just sitting there commenting, you know? Like, okay, like, you want me to stop the show for you? You one of those hecklers? You want to do that? You want to stop the progress, right? That's always about you. Anytime we said, let's get into something, let's do something, you're always, nah, later, this, that, the other. That's kind of how you are. Like, I know that. So, well, what are you talking about, block you? It's you're here on your own free will. I don't keep you off the platform, man. Really? What are you doing? Just because you know me, just because you've met me, is that how you reward me? Is that how you reward a friend? You know, by just openly criticizing them, right? When they're trying to do something. I don't think you get it. And you may judge me as some sort of rambling idiot, but you know what? At least I've got an opinion I can articulate. Seriously. You just sit there, make comments about others. You're that typical type who will sit back, right, and make judgment instead of actually doing something. You know you're like that. You know you fail to get up and do anything and rather make commentary about things. Seriously, that's how you are. So if you want to get out, use my name and do that whole thing, do that whole exposure thing of you're so confident and comfortable to be able to say that to me, okay, well, go ahead. I always told you, you know, if you got beef, you know, like that, it's not how you do it. If you got beef, you go ahead and cook that beef, right? You don't bring that beef to someone. You don't. No, you don't call me. What I'm talking about. You got no control over others. I don't know what it is about you, but you are that type. You want to control and manipulate and put in positions others, right? You want to make imposition. You don't position yourself. Oh, no, sorry, you do. You do position yourself very well. You position yourself so well that other people have to do the absolute limbo around you. And is that what you want? You want people to do limbo around you, and they have to. You know they have to. So don't even go there with me, man. Like, I swear. You should just get off. That's what you should do. And if this was a show and you came at me like this, you know what happened. You're out, okay? You're out. I don't know how else to tell you, man. I blocked you every other way. Yeah, I blocked you for sure. After what? My birthday present. Oh my God, I realized what you were like. I couldn't believe those words from you. And now you come at me, tell me I'm boring. Oh man. I can get exciting. I don't think you want to know about it. Yeah, maybe. I'm talking to you, maybe. Think about it. Do you remember what you said? Do you even remember? That's just stuck there, man. That's just stuck there. What you said just got stuck there. And now you're not taking me there. You're not taking me there, and you're not taking anybody else there, and I know exactly about you. So don't even go there. And I'm the good enough person not to talk to you and mention you by name like you do. So don't even go there. You want to get down and dirty like a pig. I know you. You want to sweat. Don't you? Yeah, you want to sweat. Why don't you disconnect? Disconnect. It's better for you. So I can move on. You shouldn't have heckled, man. You shouldn't have come at me. You want to come at me? I'll come at you. Get off. Go. You want to send an email? Send an email, all right? I might read it. Oh my God. What is it with you? You have to interfere. You have to get into people. What is that? I'm not that type, man. I'm not like you. I don't want to get into people. I'm telling people just stay away is the kind of thing I would say. Not the other way. So, you know, that makes the difference between us, all right? And I'm not going to use your name. So there you go. I won't out you. You know what I mean? You want to out me in public like this. Yeah, that's you. That's you. That says it all. Thank you. Thank you. You look, you may have given me some ratings, all right? I'm going to thank you for being that person, but not directly, mate. Not directly. Okay? Get me mad. Yeah, exactly. You want to have a hand in that shit, don't you? You want to have a hand in it. And if there's anything that come out of the last 56 hours, the rules for me is hands off. You got me? You got me? Hands off. Hands off the keys. Hands off the effing everything, you. You stop doing things that interfere with people. Include your finger, all right? Stop. Just scroll me out of here. Just go. I don't know what you do. I don't know what you do or why you do it or when you do it, but I don't want to know about it. Anyway guys, I can't play the radio, I'm so sorry, but the problem is you get a copyright strike for that, and some people don't understand that. So with my not able to have someone along with me to talk to, you guys are it, you know, and so I'm so sorry about the argument. Had to have it. Someone had to have it out with me in public, fair enough, you know, I'll handle that. You know where I'm from, if someone wants to interrupt you while you're doing something you gotta do. You don't do that shit. You don't do that. Anyway, the 6 strings of that rock guitar for me were just the main thing I was thinking about really this morning before anyone rudely interrupted the progress of a story that I knew had some relevance. But no, somebody has to interfere with that and make sure that that story doesn't get out. They don't want you to know, right? This is how I read it. Anytime you're trying to reveal something that will empower somebody, other people will come along and shut you down, all right? Anytime you're trying to do something for another person, and they look, you know what, they don't want you to, okay? They don't want you to help them, and guess what, you're not going to unless they really do it themselves, you know that. So you can have a wish that everyone's going to get well and get better, that's great, but don't make that a wish so futile that that wish is irrelevant to reality. You know, there's no reality in that wish. The true wish is to do something. You pick up the phone, you make a call, you do your best to try and find something out, figure it out. Like, figure out something that may help not only you, but someone else too. And for me, it's about thinking back to the times when we were vulnerable, then our power was taken from us, we were usurped, we were taken control of by other people. Now, only now that we've grown up, we look back and realize how much of how haphazard that was, how absolutely negligent that was to allow this rule of respect your elders. This one I went on about once, that the whole respect your elders thing came about long time ago, but the vestiges of that influence, of that culture, of, you know, the man of the house, this whole setup of the home, you know, in the beginning, that whole setup. Look, the main thing is to stay on task. You know, you're heading into the world today, you're trying to get something done. That's basically what you do. And I don't think anybody differs in that. I think everyone wakes up with a clear sense of some kind of purpose. Like, I mean, every living thing got it. Being clear on your purpose, open to, like, energy, not just energy in you, but around you. Like, you've got to be able to read that room properly, you know. Like, it's not like, look, nothing's scripted, right? Nothing's scripted. You know what this is? It's things that need to be said. And I don't know when anyone's going to get the time to say that you are the person with your hand on the pegs, right? So we can, whenever we like, detune those strings, right? And there's certain tones you're not going to hear so well. So once you imagine that really fat string, that, you know, the E string, the big one, and he takes ages to tighten up. It's you know, it's got a lot of wrap around it, and it's not a simple bit of wire like the bottom E, top E, whatever you call it, the light one. So it's easy, like when you're young, to tune up those little ones because they're light, they're about the same as you, the light strings. You hear those high-pitched noise, you know, so it all kind of makes sense that you're more tuned to the upper melodies when you're young. And it takes a long time to get those bass notes in and to really tune up the bass note, because the bass note is so low at the start. It's just this flapping E, it's just this, you know, hardly making a noise at all. By the time you've tuned up that fat E, right, here's what's happened now. There's been so much tension on the bottom 3 wire strings, you know, and they've been under tension for a long, long time before those bass notes come to really support the sound. By sound, I mean the metaphor for your overall tuning as a person. Once you pass your first development stage, say the first 6-7 years, and I believe those are critical times. They're times that are kind of lost in our memory. It's very hard to access that information. You know, you were there, you saw it all, but it's still wrapped up in that perception that hasn't been tuned properly, you know. So there are some standout things like high sounds, high notes, bright lights, for example, high things, it's really striking things. And then there's this sense, this really low flapping kind of low note that has not quite there, it's not quite humming, you don't quite hear it, you don't figure out who you are, right? Really, until that low note has come up to the point that it's audible, you know. And then you start hearing yourself, your consciousness and your conscience and your, what I call your spirit, starts to like come alive and just talk to you, right? This thing's telling you to be grateful, this thing's telling you to be thankful. Wow, look at this, I'm so lucky, I'm so lucky. That happens so much. But you know what happens when you're in the shadows, you don't really see or feel those things. You're kind of wrapped in darkness, this blanket of sadness, that kind of nostalgic feeling, but not a good nostalgia, kind of a nostalgia you don't want, you know, a kind of nostalgia that drags you down, like not a nostalgia that lifts you up and pushes you to a new thing. Like, so look, what's the reason for listening to a song you love over and over? Like, I tell you, it wasn't enough to hear it once, you know. We know that. And I reckon life is a bit the same. Until you've had a couple of goes at something, you can't really say you know what that is. You know, like most people go, oh, you ever hear about someone who likes to eat some weird food and you've never tried it? Sounds weird. Like, here's an example, I don't know, one I don't know. So, you know, when you hear jackfruit or some weird thing. I've had jackfruit, but you know, first time I heard about that shit, I was like, wow, doesn't sound awesome, you know. I'll give it a go. It's a good meat replacement, right? So I used it that way, because I love cooking, man. I love cooking. I'm all about cooking, eating, the basic level, right? I don't dress it up. But whenever someone asks me, what do you want to do for dinner tonight, I'll always say foods, because I just know I'll make one. I'll make something. Like, I kind of like to invent that. I think I give credit to, who was it? I think it was Jamie Oliver. He was such a legend. When I watched them shows where he goes in and there's a couple of things in the cupboard, and not much, like a couple of things in the fridge, not much at all. A bit of this, bit of that. He makes something awesome out of just some basic stuff, and I thought, wow, that's the way to go. Like, you buy a handful of things, you bring them home, and you kind of do different ways the same. Like, you know, ever watch Iron Chef? Love that. Like, they do potatoes like 15 ways. Like, you know, like they don't just cook potatoes. They cook potatoes in every way. And I'm like, yeah, that's really knowing your potatoes, you know, if you could do that. If you can make potatoes like soup, potato like main stuff, potato even like dessert, I hand it to you if you can do that. That's, you know, I think that's pretty cool. It shows all we're looking for is that empowerment of the transformative powers. Like, we're not looking for that food per se every day the same. We're looking to arrive at that, what I call the event, the long-awaited event, when the table's set, when everything's laid out. Like, I had this dream, so lucid dream. Like, I mean, you have very few of them in your life that you have to remember those lucid dreams you had, because you woke up and you totally remember that thing. You were like, wow, that really felt something, you know. I remember seeing my grandma, you know, long after she'd passed away. Like, this was a long time later. And of course, look, our imagination is obviously going to be able to do those things. So I'll say, look, I'm not saying it's a miracle that I had a dream. What I'm saying is, to me, the story of that dream was very striking, very relevant. So, yeah, okay, it may sound boring to someone else if I recounted it, right? So, but I won't. So, because I've already been heckled a bit, you know, like, it's hard to open up. I don't know why people think this is easy, you should be able to stand there and get criticized. No, that's hard. Like, I'm not into that. Like, in fact, I don't do that. I don't get online to try and get into someone. I get online to figure out what's going on. That's it. Just like, get the vibe, listen to the strings vibrate. I don't have my hands on the pegs of someone else's guitar, right? This is kind of what I want to show, that there's a very real difference between people. Like, but these differences are not altogether uncommon, right? So I'm not going to say that it's a rare thing that one person seeks to exert control over somebody else, and somebody else will refute that control at every step, will actually stand up for their freedom, no matter what superfluity it is. Oh, how come you're making such a big deal about manhole covers, you know? And why they're called manhole covers when anybody can go down there. All right, let's go down any crappy, trivial idea like that. Somebody else would take that chance to have a go at you for having that opinion, right? Because you've got the strength to have an opinion somehow. Okay, other person who doesn't have that strength, all his strength is, or hers, to get on the case of a person who does have an opinion, because they're trying to figure out theirs, and they're drawing a lot of strength, like some sort of vampire who has to get his teeth into the scenario. You know, let's really digest this thing. Like, let's really get into this thing. Let's really swallow this thing up. You know, let's really try and put this thing away. No, like, this desire is coming from a will to power. Like, this person's want for a thing. And what I was trying to get to several weeks back, I think, when I was saying that your need for or want for something does not equate to the other person's desire to grant your need, want. Yeah, so there's this dichotomy that goes on, and I'll call it conflict. All right, like, say you want my oil fields, for example, let's say I got some oil fields somewhere. All right, you want them. Oh yeah, I get it. Fine, you want my oil field. Fine. You want my golden goose. You want my chickens. You want my sheep, my lambs, my cows, my goats. And if we go even further into the darkness there, you're going to see there's plenty of books written that wanted to say that it was your obligation to basically do the tithe, you know, do the sacrifice, give away something precious of yours in exchange for some sort of, sounds like a song, you know. What are you trading it for? Like, look, there's a cool song Bob Dylan said, you're gonna have to serve somebody. Like, that's the truth. You're gonna have to serve somebody. And when he said it may be the devil, it may be the Lord, but you're gonna have to serve somebody. There's no way out of that. So whether you think you're on the side of good or bad, you still have the obligation to take action, no matter who you are, right? So I'm not saying if you're a bad person, then you're obliged to do bad things. No, I believe if you're a bad person, if you're a bad person, you're not under any obligation to act. What you're obliged to do is to try and temper that. Is to try and temper it. The thing about civilization, being civilized, is that we've put away our swords, right? We've put away our spears. We've put away our things that we first used to use for hunting animals for food, right? That was the main, well, I hope that was the reason for those inventions, right? But now we have like much more state-of-the-art, well-produced things that do a lot of damage, right? So like we've seen over the last, I don't know, last 18 months, maybe longer, I don't know. It's been a while, 24 months, maybe 2 or 3 years. There's been a lot of carnage, right? And real carnage. Not the kind of carnage that occurs when you have an opinion and you start talking about it. That carnage is not necessary. There's no need for like a war of words when you have real actual wars happening. Your focus should be on stopping those wars, right? You need to stop those actual physical, real, actual explosions, right? You need to actually stop doing those. None of us are doing them, okay? Like, I want to speak for at least the people I know, okay? So I'm not so presumptuous like some people would accuse me of. I'm not. I'm very open to the fact that I'm not speaking for everyone, okay? And I would never want to do that. We need to stop these wars. On behalf of the people I know, none of us have a weapon, okay, at all, except maybe the old cricket bat in the shed. And that doesn't count. We use it to play, so it's not even a thing. Okay, it's not like it. What I don't have at home is like a surface-to-air missile. No, don't have one of them. You got anyone got a case of hand grenades? I don't. No. Anyone got a automatic gun? I don't. You know, I don't need it. If I ever needed that, I'm not sure I'd want to be here. You know, like, kind of, that's where I'm coming from. If I had to be armed to the back teeth just to survive getting to work now, I don't really think I would go to work, you know. Anyway, guys, we're here. It's 34 minutes. That's got to be a record. I think I was getting 49 last week. Anyway, I want to thank you all for turning up here, Magpie Friends. If you've been watching, you're a friend. Hope you're all going to do well. It's Monday here, so I guess you're going to have a good sunset over there soon. Enjoy the sunset. And it's looking so cloudy, I don't think the sun's even going to come up here today, but love you all. Thank you so much. Don't touch them buttons. Thanks for watching. 35.